It seems like most people have made it in from the lobby. So, welcome to the Living in Residence webinar, everyone. My name is Ella. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the first year foundation student lead with the Student Experience Office this summer. Going into my fourth year at Queens, majoring in math and minoring in computer science, I'm going to be your host for the webinar this evening. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and it will be available for viewing on the Student Experience Office webpage within the next few business days. So I'm going to start by giving a brief land acknowledgement, and I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and reflect on the history of the land that Queen's University is situated on. Kingston is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee Indigenous peoples. My intention in acknowledging this traditional territory is to recognize the significance for the Indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live upon it and whose practices and spiritualities are tied to the land and continue to develop in relationship to the territory and its other inhabitants today. As a settler and uninvited guest, I make an effort in my daily life to educate myself about Indigenous culture and practices by attending Indigenous-led events on campus and exploring Indigenous spaces, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I recently had the opportunity to take a walking tour of Indigenous spaces and art on Queen's campus, reflect on what they can tell me about Indigenous experiences. A particular space that I enjoyed exploring was the Endayon Teganusadeh Residence Courtyard. It features a large gathering space with Indigenous symbolism, and in the center of the space there's a large turtle shell, which really made me think about Turtle Island, which is the Indigenous name for the continent of North America. This space really reminded me of Indigenous teachings that are centered on interconnection with the land, and it really encouraged me to reflect. It's very important to reflect on Indigenous histories and teachings and to contribute to a more inclusive community that works toward reconciliation. If this is new to you or you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to explore the resources offered by the Office of Indigenous Initiatives and the Four Directions Indigenous Student Center, both online and on campus here at Queen's. Thank you everyone for taking this moment to reflect and learn with me. I'm now going to pass it over to our main speaker for today, Taylor, who is the Manager of Residence Education with Residence Life and Services. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi there, folks. It's great to be here. My name is Taylor McPherson. I use she, her pronouns, and as Ella said, I'm the manager for residence education. I'm also realizing as I look at my screen that you might be seeing captions regardless if you chose to put captions on or not, and that's just because for accessibility reasons, I have it enabled on the PowerPoint, and so we can all enjoy them together. I'm really excited to chat with you today about living in residence. It's a very exciting time. I'm sure it's stressful, exciting, all the things. And so hopefully I can ease some of those concerns. It seems like just yesterday I actually went to Queens. I was in Waldron Tower, and I had the best time and I loved it so much I came back and lived here. So I'm really hoping that you feel the same. So to get us started, just a little bit of information if you don't already know. We are a highly residential university. We have an average of 90% of the first year incoming class who choose to live in residence. We have a total of 4,730 bed spaces in 18 different residence buildings, all of which are unique and have many different features. 70% of our rooms are single or single plus, and 26% are double rooms, with the remaining 4% a mixture of triple and quad rooms. We do have 2 female-identified buildings, a building that is gendered by floor, and the remainder are mixed gender buildings and floors. There are 3 all-you-care-to-eat dining halls, and there is a mandatory meal plan for first-year students, which we'll talk more about soon. We have 2 campuses, as you know, West Campus and Main Campus. One thing to keep in mind for those who are living on West Campus this year is our campus is relatively small, and you can get almost anywhere within a 20-minute walk. As a student, you're also provided with a Kingston City bus pass, so you can access things even quicker using transit. And it's quite a robust transit system for a city that is only like a moderate size. It's a pretty impressive bus system, which is great. So living in residence, as I said before, it's a huge step in your time here at Queen's. You'll have the opportunity to make lifelong connections, overcome challenges, and work towards those goals. And our job is to work with you to create that environment that fosters your sense of belonging, that helps you build resilience and achieve academic success. These are the three learning outcomes that we hope you achieve during your time in residence and help ground everything we do ourselves. They'll be at the center of the events we plan, your community experience, and your responsibilities. One thing I'll mention is if you're ever interested in hearing more about events that are happening in residence or on campus, uh, we have a weekly newsletter that I'll talk about soon, but I also recommend you follow us on Instagram if you have social media because we post a lot about opportunities, programs, lots of fun things there. So definitely check it out. So, as I said, it's a highly residential campus, and we talked about it being 4,730 beds. That means it's a really dense communal living environment. And that means you're going to have a lot of people living closely together. Your home is home to individuals from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds, gender identities and expression, religious beliefs, and with varying abilities. In residence, we're committed to fostering communities where equity, diversity, inclusion, and indigeneity are embraced and celebrated. And we expect you to be open to learning, respecting others, and embracing those differences. We believe that our diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences make us stronger and richer. And respecting each other and embracing our unique differences is both a collective and individual responsibility for students who live in residence. And we expect everyone to live by those principles. So a note that harassment, discrimination, intimidation, including actions that target, exclude, and or shame someone based on their identity is a violation of human rights and is not tolerated in residence. And reports of such actions will be taken seriously and will be investigated by the university. And we will hold those found responsible accountable for their actions. We'll talk a little bit more in just a moment about what that sense of safety and resources looks like in residence that both supports what I just spoke about, but also provides additional pastoral support for students. So those safety resources, we have support services available 24 hours a day. We have a number of resources on campus, 7 days a week. Uh, we have 24/7 on-call response by resident staff. Dons are on call every evening. So our residence dons, which we'll speak more about later, those are student staff and residents who live on the floors. They're on call every evening beginning at 8 p.m. And in addition, we also have professional staff, so professional employees on call 24/7. And you can always reach a front desk with questions or concerns via phone or live chat on our website. Another excellent resource in residence is our embedded mental health therapists. These are two full-time professional therapists who are specifically dedicated to support students living in residence and a really fantastic resource. We also do work closely with our campus partners to provide information and support to students in residence, including campus security and emergency services, student wellness services, and care support services. A piece with all these resources is we do encourage self-advocacy. We want you to be able to help yourself as you navigate this changing environment, academic responsibilities that might feel different from when you were in high school, and new social challenges. We care, we want you to feel supported, but there are a lot of you. So while we work hard to connect with you and build those communities, sometimes we won't know you need support unless you ask for it. And there are lots of folks who work in residence who are there for those asks, especially our residence dons. So speaking of those supports we just chatted about, we're going to go over them a little bit. So I've got 4 up here, which I've kind of all mentioned a little bit already. We'll talk about residence life coordinators, residence dons, residence mental health therapists, and front desk services. All right, our residence don. So as I've mentioned, residence dons build meaningful individual and community relationships. They contribute to the safety and security of our buildings, and they're responsible for the frontline implementation and support of the residence life mission and our 3 learning goals. Again, they're a frontline resource for resident students, and they're responsible for the overall implementation of those learning goals, which is finding a sense of belonging, building resilience, and achieving academic success. They're an excellent resource for students. Not only are they this first line of contact and they receive rigorous training, but they're also a student like you. They're just in their second, third, fourth, sometimes master's or PhD, and they are that first point of contact and someone you'll meet on your first day when you move in. And they're very excited to meet you all as well. So our second kind of individual that's there as a support are our residence life coordinators. So when I was talking about that professional staff on call structure, our residence life coordinators are full-time professional live-in staff who are responsible for establishing a cohesive and vibrant residence community. They will support that community through educational programming, through supervision and development of the residents' dons, and then also through critical response through on-call structures and supporting student conduct as it arises. The RLCs are available to discuss any questions regarding the community and address your concerns. When you arrive, you'll notice their faces on posters in the building and their email. You'll receive emails from them, and their names and emails are also on the website. So if you ever want to get in touch, they're there. And they're an excellent, excellent resource to reach out as well. And as we spoke about, our residents' mental health therapists. So again, a really fantastic embedded resource that we have that's really unique to residents. They can support with one-on-one appointments, whether in person and virtually. They don't offer ongoing therapy, but they're eager to listen and help anyone who finds themselves struggling. And they also do run some therapist-led groups, such as Navigating First Year Frenzy, which is a fantastic group and resource, and more information will come out soon about that in our weekly newsletters. And then finally, we have our front desk services. So life in residence happens 24/7, and the front desk team will be here to help you regardless of the time of day. And if the question isn't connected to living in residence, they can also try their best to refer you or connect you as you need. Hours will be posted and communicated throughout residence at the beginning of the year. But just as a note, these are our 4 front desks, including the mail depot identified here. All right, so their residence contract. This is kind of the basis of that responsibility that we all agree to when we live in residence. One thing I will note is our 2026-2027 residence contract will be available for students next week, as it is part of the pre-module that you have to review and complete to pick your move-in time slot. So information will be coming out next week about that, and it will also be available in the weekly newsletters. Those newsletters start tomorrow, technically, but that information will be till next week. So our residence contract is aligned with our learning goals. Last year's residence contract is available on our website, and so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Those guiding principles, we encourage our community members' personal development through the wide range of programming, and we hold individuals accountable for the violations of the residence contract and community standards behavioral expectations. We recognize that it is a high density living environment and it requires you to have a high level of awareness, care, and respect for your impact on the other people who live in your community. And you are solely accountable for those decisions while living in residence. And it's important that you reflect on how those decisions impact you and everyone else around you. As community members, all residents have the individual and collective responsibility to create a positive and welcoming environment for all students. And it's your responsibility to report or share information about any incidents of misconduct that you're aware of, where there may be a risk of harm, a possible violation of the resident's contract and community standards, or a negative impact on the dignity of any other resident. And again, residents' dons and residence life coordinators are available to support when those incidents come up. So again, our expectations is that you have at your basis a respect for the people that you live with in your community. So being conscious of quiet hours, being cognizant of the fact that you're sharing spaces, that you are cognizant of the places, So the places where people come from, the experiences people have, who people are, and that you also have a respect for the property in residence. And so damages, etc. Those community standard violations can be found in section 4.10. And again, last year's is available on our website. Next year's will be out next week. So the residence conduct process, that is also in the residence contract, which you can take a look at. I will highlight it here that if the process, just really briefly, residence dons or campus security will typically document a situation with a potential contract violation. They will then be information gathering, which is done by the residence life staff who will meet with involved students. And then residence life staff will work with students to resolve the harm caused by the incident. When it comes to resolution, the goal of the conduct process is to have educational conversations about the impact of the behavior in residence. We recognize that this is a new experience living in residence for most of us. And that comes with also learning how to live with others and learning how to live in a high density environment. And so that education is always at the forefront of those conversations. So resolutions could include educational sanctioning or written warnings, and it could also include restitution, so paying for damages or loss of privileges. So it is important, again, that you make sure when you have to review it next week, you thoroughly review it so that you know the responsibilities you're committing to when you live in residence. All right, a couple little last minute things, and then we'll talk a little briefly about hospitality. So laundry. This is always a really common question. And again, this info is on our website. Residents building laundry rooms, they have front loading washers and dryers with really detailed operating instructions. And to find out where your laundry room is located, you can visit your building page. The cost per load is $250 per wash and $250 per dry, and you pay for your laundry using an app, which is fantastic. You don't need a jar of coins that I used to have on my desk in my residence room. So fantastic. Please ensure that you only put one load of clothes into the dryer and empty the lint screen after each use. Again, we're in a high density living environment. We don't want to have damages to these dryers and washing machines and then be down to one washing machine when we could have all three working, for example. And again, when it's speaking of maintenance issues, you can directly report a laundry machine maintenance issue with Coinomatic at their number, and that's on the washing machine. So residence facilities doesn't deal with it, so it has to be called in. And so again, that's part of our communal responsibility to make sure that if a washing machine is not working, we give a call. Okay. I imagine there's some parents and supporters on this call, and so I wanted to just speak briefly to them. We've talked a little bit in here about how this is a transition often, and we do encourage you to have open and honest conversations with your student about some of the challenges they might face, how they hope to navigate conflict, relationships with partners and friends, drug and alcohol use, consent, and how they can contribute to a safe environment where all students at Queen's feel welcome and comfortable. And we want your student to make the most of their time here, try new things, meet new people, hear new thoughts, so they can continue to form their own values and beliefs. But reminding your student that there are certain expectations, opportunities, safety considerations, limits, and consequences, and letting them know how to respect themselves, others, and stay true to who they are and how they've been raised can be the first step to having those critical conversations. So we just encourage you to empower the students in your life to make great choices while encouraging their independence and keeping up good lines of communication. Takes time and dedication. If you are, I think checking in regularly is great and making sure that that line of communication is there while also respecting their boundaries as they're living in residence on their own. But if you are worried about your student, you can reach out to us. We may not be able to provide you with a lot of information, but we will receive the information and the concern. And we will encourage your student to reach back out to you, to talk to you. One way you can stay connected with what's happening in residence is by subscribing to the Residence Connection. And this newsletter is for families of students living in residence and provides updates and information throughout the year. It's a great resource. You could also follow us on Instagram if you want to see what your student might be getting up to. Who knows? Maybe they'll show up in the Instagram story. Who knows? Okay. So unfortunately, we couldn't have a registered dietitian here today to talk about dieting and food at Queen's. So you get to listen to me again for another 20 minutes. So hang in there. But this is Amy Sebo. She is the registered dietitian, wellness and sustainability manager for hospitality services. The registered dietitian is another fantastic resource that we have in residence. They support students on the campus meal plan. They provide education on safe and nutritious food options on campus. And they work with the culinary team to help navigate the meal plan to suit your needs, which is great. So the weekly 19 meal plan. If you live in residence, this weekly 19 meal plan is included in your residence fees, and it's mandatory for students living in residence. With 19 dining hall meals, you can eat in your choice of 3 all-you-care-to-eat dining halls, and the weekly meals reset to 19 every Monday at 12:01 a.m. One thing to keep in mind is that unused meals per week do not carry over. The trade a meal TAM option provides students the flexibility to choose to trade a dining hall meal for a fixed combo in select retail food locations on campus. So that's not where you can use your meals. You have to use it like a TAM instead. Redeemed TAMs are deducted from the weekly 19 dining hall allowance and can be used up to twice a day to a maximum of 175 times for the academic year. For optimal value and variety, we encourage students to access the dining hall for all you care to eat meals using swipes from the weekly 19 meal plan as much as they can because it is more variety. Flex dollars work like cash loaded onto your student card to provide additional flexibility for purchasing snack items or single menu items between meals. And you can actually add more flex money onto your card at any time and at any denomination through the student residence and dining portal. Parents, family supporters, and friends can also gift students Flex Dollars through the campus market, which is pretty fantastic. And so you can learn more about that on our website. You can also just Google Campus Market Queen's University, and it will definitely come up for you. One last thing to keep in mind is students on the residence meal plan are automatically enrolled in the Good to Go reusable container initiative, which helps divert single-use packaging waste when dining in retail food locations where takeout packaging is most prevalent. And we actually just this year hit over 1 million diversions of good to go containers. So like 1 million uses of the reusable containers, which is equivalent to 1 million single use, which is a fantastic goal and a sign of a really successful initiative. One thing to keep in mind is we have these 3 dining halls. There are Leonard and Ban Reed Dining Hall on main campus, and then on West Campus, Jean Royce Dining Hall. But regardless of your student's residence building home base, you can visit any of the 3 campus dining halls. I will say I was in concurrent education. I ate a lot at the Jean Royce Dining Hall. It's fantastic. The plan also includes 5 guest passes, which is really great, which can allow a friend or a guest to join you in the dining hall for an all-you-care-to-eat meal for just $5. All the dining halls operate on a 5-week residence dining menu cycle, which provides a variety of options to suit students' needs and preferences, which is really lovely. I will say, just before I forget, speaking of Jean Royce again, I think one thing that people really enjoy about the Jean Royce dining hall that I also really enjoyed as well when I was going to it so often is I kind of got to know the chefs really well, and friends of mine that lived on West Campus also got to know them really well too, which kind of created this very cozy feel. Just as cozy in the other dining halls, but it was a lovely perk for sure. So we have a numerous retail food locations on campus. Like there's a ton on this slide, and that includes retail concepts that are unique to Queens. So examples of that would be Wally's, Location 21, the famous Lazy Scholar, and then recognizable national brands like Starbucks, Tim Hortons, Booster Juice, etc. So TAMs can be used in the Queen's unique proprietary retail food locations only. Those locations can be found across campus and include a variety of different cuisines, including fresh ingredients from globally inspired recipes. So in the JDUC, you could find Clove and Spice, which offers Mediterranean-inspired shawarma, wraps, and salads. And Cow is an Asian fusion destination, which offers noodle and rice dishes and more. And those menu boards will have a TAM symbol, which you can see in the right corner. If you can see my mouse, that TAM symbol will be next to applicable menu items and meal combinations. And then you can visit the TAM inclusions page on our website if you need to visit over 100 base TAM combinations that are available to you. Your flex dollars can be used to purchase food and beverage in the national brand locations, so Tim Hortons, Starbucks, etc. And they can also be used in our Queen's unique proprietary retail food locations and student-run locations on campus, such as Common Ground and the Tea Room, which are both fantastic. The mobile Transact app also provides a convenient option to order your meals ahead of time. So a recommended app to download for sure. All right, trade a meal. So just one more, just to mention, again, the trade a meal option provides students the flexibility to choose trade that dining hall meal for a fixed combo in the select retail locations on campus. I will mention here, remember to use your good to go reusable container and bring your reusable mug to participating retail locations, which will help reduce waste, but also will save you money because it will save the single use fees. For more information about TAMs and hours of retail, you can also go on the website and you can look at the What's Open Now page, which is really great. So, support for allergies and dietary needs. We take great care in supporting students who have food allergies or other dietary needs at Queen's. And again, Amy is an excellent resource for this. So those dietary needs may include those with food allergies, intolerances, food-related medical conditions, for example, celiac disease, those that follow a diet related to a religious or cultural observance, so for example, halal or kosher, or vegetarian and vegan diets. If you're someone with a dietary need, I would want to bring your attention to the food allergy and dietary need form on the student residence and dining portal. It's important to provide these pieces of information if you haven't yet in order to ensure you're connected with the information you need to make safe and informed choices on campus. Our wellness icons are used in our dining hall and proprietary retail locations to assist students in identifying the meals that meet their needs and lifestyle. So examples include halal and vegetarian options, as well as a cool food meal logo, which identifies low climate impact meals, which is part of our sustainable development goals. We do encourage all students, though, with dietary needs to ask before you eat. This means we want students to speak with a chef, manager, or supervisor before each meal to share their dietary needs and receive guidance on the food options for your needs. We do not have allergen-free facilities on campus. We do take food allergies very seriously. Students with food allergies and other dietary needs are advised to eat at campus dining halls over retail food locations, where we can provide a little bit more support. In the dining halls, menu boards identify Health Canada priority allergen information in contains, may contain statements. So similar to what you would see at the grocery store on packages. And chefs are always accessible to review menu ingredients and additional precautions for allergy-friendly meals and are managed those are managed through the True Balance Station. So this does exist as well, which is a really great resource. Each of our 3 campus dining halls, so Leonard, Banry, and Jean Royce, can accommodate students with food allergies and other dietary needs. And definitely ask. The chefs are more than happy. They're very friendly, and they definitely want you to reach out. We really, really do. The True Balance allergy friendly stations, you can see the picture here, is found, oh, sorry, my mouse is in the wrong spot. There they are. Is found at Leonard and Banry. That is at Leonard. Meals in our True Balance station are prepared in a designated kitchen area without 10 of the most common Health Canada priority allergens. which is great. Upon request, the Jean Royce Hall chefs can also provide customized meals and prepare True Balance recipes. All campus dining halls also provide students with access to a self-serve gluten-free friendly pantry, which offers a selection of gluten-free breads, cereals, oats, snack foods, and a dedicated gluten-free toaster and a small preparation area. So this picture here is just an example of Leonard, and they all have them. We encourage students with allergies and dietary needs to book an appointment with the dietitian prior to arriving to campus. I know she's been quite busy, so I know many people on this webinar today probably already have, but you can also talk to her anytime throughout the year. And in these informal meetings, the dietitian can discuss how to best support you through campus dining so your food is safe and enjoyable. The dietitian acts as a liaison with the culinary team and provides support to students, ensures they have the information they need to dine safely. And they also assist in facilitating dietary accommodations on the meal plan if needed. All right, we talked about this already and I got to share my 1 million swipes, but just to kind of go over it so it makes a little bit of sense. When you move in to residence, when you check in, you're going to get a green carabiner clip that's supplied at the time. Students will bring that carabiner to a food counter at a participating retail location and join in on the sustainable swap and exchange of carabiners to help reduce single-use packaging from retail locations and the 75-cent single-use fee on select takeout containers. So basically, you would arrive, you give your carabiner to the food counter, you order your meal, you get it in the good-to-go container and exchange it. Then you get to eat your meal in that sanitized container, and then you get to return it to the swap station to either get a carabiner to use later or exchange it for a sanitized container at a retail food counter. So a clean container if you want to have that instead. They are used in all proprietary, unique retail food locations where takeout packaging is most prevalent. The dining halls, though, this is important because people get confused. They're dine-in only, and so you don't use good-to-go containers with the exception of select express-to-go meals that are available from the cashier. One thing to keep in mind, and I mentioned it a little earlier, around like single-use costs, there's also a 35-cent single-use cost recovery cup fee on hot beverages and fountain drink purchases that are not in a reusable cup at select retail food locations on campus. All right. So that was a lot, and it was a lot of me. And it's going to be a lot of me now as well when I answer some of these Q&A questions. But I'm going to pass it back to Ella to identify any questions to start us off.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Okay, so now it's time for the Q&A portion of this webinar. Feel free to use the Q&A feature on the top of your screen to send in any questions you have. And you can use the anonymous feature as well if it makes you feel more comfortable. We're going to try and answer as many questions as we can during this webinar. We also have a great team on the back end who are going to answer some more specific questions in the chat as well. So let me take a look and see what our first one is. Okay, this is a residence related one. What should I bring with me to residence?
Great question. And it's going to be a great answer for me because we also have some good resources on our website. I sound like a broken record at this point, but we seriously do have a lot of great resources on the website. You're going to want to bring the essentials. You want to feel comfortable, organized, and ready for student life. And so that should include like personal computer, bedding, some cozy touches, like favorite pillow books. Internet is available in all rooms, usually through an Ethernet port. So an Ethernet cable is a must. Definitely check the building pages and you can get that information. And a wireless router is optional depending on your building. So take a look. You can bring a small fridge, 3.5 cubic feet or smaller, or you can rent one from Coldeck. One thing I will say that's important to know if you are renting something from Coldex, you can get that information on our website as well, is that Coldex has a micro fridge, which includes a microwave. And while having a microwave in your room is not allowed, the Coldex micro fridge is an approved appliance in residence this year, meaning it's not a contract violation to have the microwave in your room as long as it is part of the micro fridge package. So might be a reason to then consider renting. And then you don't have to buy and like try to sell it when you move off, if you decide to move off campus and don't need it anymore. I would also mention not to forget practical items like a laundry basket, shower flip-flops, desk lamp, dishware, a reusable water bottle and a coffee mug. Also thinking about those single-use fees, really important. We also recommend you pack a first aid kit, hand sanitizer, winter clothing. And if you do want to personalize your space, bring decorations and a sticky tack to hang them safely. Uh, Please avoid tape, especially like the clear tape, because that's going to tear stuff off the walls. Each room does come with a furnished bed, desk, chair, dresser, and closet. And common room areas, they have laundry facilities, microwave, kettle, and more. Again, definitely take a look at your building page for any specific details before you pack. And we do have a nice list on our website that you can take a look at. It would be on the move-in page part. So like the move-in hub will have that information.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, let me look for our next question. I also think on our next slide, we have a lot of the links to the websites you were mentioning, which will be amazing for
Yes.
everybody.
Thank you for flagging that. Look at that. That's much better to look at, isn't it? Perfect.
Okay, this question is a dining question. If I don't use all of my TAMs, can I use them next year or do I get those TAMs refunded?
Great question. So the TAMs do not carry over to the next academic year. They are non-refundable. So that's something to keep in mind. I imagine you'll be able to use them all because there's a lot of really great proprietary retail locations. And again, just as a reminder for people, the TAMs are that meal equivalency that allows you to trade in the dining hall swipe for a meal combo. They're not extra meals. And again, they do not carry over. So you kind of got to use them or lose them.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, this next one is a residence question. When will I get to meet my residence Dawn?
Great question. I mentioned a little earlier, but you'll get to meet your residence dawn shortly after you arrive and have had a chance to settle and unpack into your room. They're upper year students and they live on your floor and they're there to support you. That first introduction will be during a mandatory community meeting as well. So if they don't see you in the hallway, they'll make sure you're at the community meeting where you'll get a chance to meet your floor mates, learn about your responsibilities in residence, and also get a chance to start shaping that respectful and positive environment together. Hopefully, you'll also get to then head to your first dinner as a community at one of our dining halls. Uh, and again, like now that there's a question about Dawns, they're a key resource throughout the year. So whether you have questions or need support or just want to chat, I'm just going to restate, don't hesitate to reach out. They're there for a reason.
Thank you, Taylor. I definitely remember talking to my Dawn a lot when I was in first year. Very
Yeah,
helpful.
they're great.
Okay, they are. This next one is another dining question. Can all food locations, including the TAM locations, accommodate my food allergies?
So this is a great question. And again, like accommodating and navigating food allergies is really important to us. One thing to note is all retail food locations, they do present a high risk of cross-contamination. So to answer that question, they may not be able to always accommodate your dietary needs. We do really strongly encourage individuals with food allergies and specifically celiac disease to visit the dining halls where Health Canada priority allergens are identified. The chefs are always accessible, also super friendly, and the allergy-friendly options may be available at the True Balance station at those campus dining halls or through customized meals. So it's just a lot more contained. So we recommend that.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay. This next one is a residence related question. It's definitely one I had in first year. How do I receive mail and packages while I'm living in residence?
Great question. So all mail and packages are processed through our residence mailrooms before being released. It's important to use the correct mailing address format based on your campus location. Um, One thing to note is please do not mail anything right now. The mail depot is closed. It actually won't even open to begin handing out packages until September 6th. And deliveries won't be accepted until August 31st. So definitely do not send anything now. Once your package, though, once you do send packages, once it's open, and it's arrived to our buildings, you'll receive an email from front desk at queensu.ca with your parcel tracking ID and a pickup location. And then all you need to do is bring your student card and that ID. It can be on your phone, that's fine, to the front desk to collect your item. I will say processing times can vary. And again, there's 4,700 plus of us. So there's a lot of mail. Imagine how much mail that is. So we recommend not sending time-sensitive items like medications through the mail. We do recommend that you just send them to the Drug Smart Pharmacy in the Queen Center, which is right like in the ARC kind of area. So very close walk for folks. I
Amazing.
will also add before I forget, additional information about addressing parcels and mail will be sent in upcoming residents weekly newsletters as well. So that information will be written down for you to look at.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, this is another food one. Can I use Tams at Starbucks?
Great question. No, unfortunately, Tams can only be redeemed at the Queen's unique proprietary retail food location. Very long sentence, but just like the Queen's created ones is basically the other term for it. So they're not available for use at a franchise location. So like Starbucks, Booster Juice, etc. Anything that you recognize the name of, that's like a brand name that you maybe see in your town or somewhere else, they can't use it. However, you can use flex dollars at any retail food location. So you can use it at Starbucks, and you can also use it at the student-run locations like Co-Grow and the Tea Room on campus.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Taylor. Okay. Um, I know we still have a couple more questions, but unfortunately, due to time constraints, we're going to have to end our Q&A. If you have any more remaining questions and we couldn't get to yours either live or through the chat, we have a lot of contact information pinned in the discussion post in the Q&A section, so you can reach out to the appropriate place for whatever your question is. And we'll just go on over to the next slide. I'll mention some of the upcoming events. So Residents Move-In Weekend is
Oh,
September
I'm
4th
so
and 5th.
sorry. It's 5th and 6th. I
September
apologize.
5th and 6th, no
No,
problem.
5th and 6th. Yes, I am so sorry. That would be my. No, it's not. 4th and 5th. I'm so sorry. My excitement of the webinar is correct. Just ignore me. I didn't say everything's correct.
Perfect.
I got excited. Thanks, Ella.
September 4th and 5th. So super exciting move-in weekend. If you want to learn more about move-in, how it all works, how you can get ready for it, please join us at our move-in webinar, which is on August 12th. You can register for it using that QR code on the screen, but it's also on the Student Experience Office webpage. You can register it just like you registered for this webinar. And then on the next slide, we have a couple more upcoming events I'll mention. So all of these webinars are open to students, parents, and supporters to help you with your transition to Queens. So I just mentioned our Residents Move-In webinar. If you're interested in learning more about fall orientation, be sure to attend our webinar on August 18th. Our last virtual social of the summer is on August 22nd, and it's going to be a virtual campus scavenger hunt. So this is a great way to meet your fellow incoming students before you even get to campus. And you can check out the full summer webinar schedule on the Student Experience Office webpage and register in all of the sessions that interest you. And then on the next slide, I'll mention our feedback form. So this is a great opportunity to be entered into a draw for a $50 Q-Shop gift card. We have a feedback form on our webinar series, and we want to hear from all of you. All incoming students, parents, and supporters are encouraged to provide their feedback and will only take you approximately 3 minutes to complete. It can be done using the QR code on the screen right now. We'll also post it as a link in the Q&A discussion section. So you can complete one feedback form per student experience webinar per person. And if you're watching this webinar as a recording, you can also complete the survey. It will close August 31st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, shortly after our final webinar takes place. So I want to thank Taylor again for presenting and all of the staff we have on the back end for their time this evening. I want to thank all of you at home for attending. I hope you have an amazing evening, and hopefully we see you at some of our other events. So take care, everybody.